Hey friends, this is Waylon, and I do with Elephant, three mindful tips, little mindful, specific, useful, practical tips every Friday. I'm live over here on our new YouTube channel, not our big old one, our new little one, and Instagram. So every Friday, again, I do three specific, useful, fun, interesting, at least to me, mindful tips. They're probably kind of nerdy, but they're applicable to our daily lives, and both from a mindful point of view and from an eco point of view and from a social caring about society point of view. So there's actually going to be four tips if I can remember all of them today. Number one, at least here in Colorado, any of you in a cold area, snow, at least here in Colorado, it's cold. There's a lot of snow out, and putting out bird feeders. Now, I'm 48. I'm a bachelor. I never thought bird feeders would be in my life. I have made fun of my mom, who is an avid birder, who knows crows by name. They follow her around. She has relationships with birds and squirrels. She's like, who is it? One of those Disney princesses. Anyway, I made fun of her for her love for birds forever. She'll call me up on the phone and talk about birds for 20 minutes. And then, she'll give 1 or 2 minutes to, oh, and how are you, my only son? Not really. She's very loving, but she loves birds. So anyway, I got a couple bird feeders during the pandemic. And I have to say, one of them right over here is positioned relatively close to my huge TV. And I have to say, I'm not sure which one I watch more. I like basketball. Cinderella. Thank you, Lisa. I like basketball. I like some good movies or whatever. But the bird feeders give me joy all day long, every day, from before I wake up to about an hour before it gets dark. And then they suddenly all disappear because they have to find a cozy little nook and stick out their feathers and cuddle together and get warm. That's my imitation of a bird staying alive in freezing nights in Colorado. So not only are bird feeders great for our entertainment, but most importantly, they are great for birds. It can be hard to survive out there. And why not help? If you're not in a cold environment, obviously you can do it in the summer, you can do it anytime. But equally important for all animals is putting out clean water with little rocks in them so that insects and others cannot drown in it. So like a big flattish kind of bowl or plate with clean water. That can be, in times of drought and heat, that can be the difference in whether an animal survives or not. So it's just so fun. I have two. I have one right by my hot tub. I have one right by my window. Here's a corollary tip. Corollary tip is you gotta put like stained glass little or crystals or whatever hanging. My mom always had beautiful sort of Victorian style crystals hanging in the windows. Now I know why. We don't want the birds to fly into the windows. Then we're just causing suffering and death and concussions, I'm sure. Little bird concussions are little no fun. So I can show that to you, but basically you just hang them from like a piece of floss or what, I have random string everywhere and they're pretty. They're crystals, make little rainbows all over your home. All right, that's number one tip, bird feeders. They're amazing. They're better than TV. I wish I had tips about the food. I use hulled, like shell-less sunflowers because I think that sunflower seeds, because that's pretty much best. There's lots of different ones for different kinds of birds. The sad tip here is that huge bags of seed are almost all plastic now. They used to be that tough kind of sewn together paper. I cannot find this tough sewn together paper that isn't lined or all plastic. So that sucks. I do buy it from my local hardware shop. Please don't buy this stuff from Amazon or Home Depot or whatever. Support local. All right, that was a long time on one little tip, but there you go. There's some detail to it. Also, a little more. I get the squirrel-proof ones. Squirrels, don't worry. If you love squirrels, they still get tons of seed on the ground. But the squirrel-proof ones are great. The squirrels get on them. They're heavier than a bird, and the cage goes down, and they can't get any food. So they pretty much leave it alone. All right, I think that's all I got. The funniest thing about the squirrel-proof bird feeders is the packaging has a squirrel with a tear coming down its face, which is really hysterical and funny for some reason, and really kind of cute and a little bit sad. But don't worry, the squirrels are very fat and happy in Boulder, Colorado, at least. All right, number two. What's number two? Number two is, oh yeah, big fonts. I like big fonts, and I cannot lie. Why do I love big fonts? I'm 48. I spend 1 million hours doing social media, running Elephant Journal, and I still, at least until recently, have had perfect eyesight, despite 1 million hours online. So how do I do that? I've always used big fonts on my phone, big fonts on my laptop, and I've always had perfect vision. So why big fonts? Because eye strain will get you over time. If you're experiencing eye strain, make your fonts on your email, make your fonts on your phone, make your fonts on your text, make your fonts on every little thing bigger. New York Times, whatever you're reading, bigger fonts. You don't need to be, have eye trouble to do that. All right, that one was quick. That'll, preserve your eyesight long term. All right, number three, little free libraries are like one of the signs that the world is going in a better direction, that we don't need to give up hope. They're like anti-apocalyptic things. I love little free libraries. So this tip is really just support your local little free library. Host one yourself, register it with Little Free Library Organization, which we have. I have a huge one. I have like a double-decker, all made out of reclaimed materials that an old cowboy who lives up in the mountains built for me. And it has an adult section up here and a little kids section down here. I barely pay attention to it. People fill it, people empty it. Whenever I have books to give away, I put it in there. Little free libraries, gotta love them. I write about that a lot in my new book, that kind of anything you can do to contribute to your local community through your home, putting a bench outside, putting a bird feeder outside, making your fence fun, like made out of skis, whatever you can do to make your home eco and useful for your community is a gift. That's a connecting thing. Too many homes, especially in America, we're all isolated from each other. You know what I mean? Give me a heart if you know what I mean. We need more of that sort of like, neighborly, sticking our heads over the fences and having nice conversations, bringing sugar over, being helpful to each other. One of my mindful tips, which I think I've already shared, is, and I call it free exercise, thanks for all the hearts, is I shovel my neighbors' walks when I'm bored, when I have time, when I need some exercise, when they're busy with their kids or whatever. And the corollary is if I'm traveling or whatever, they shovel my walk. So just, be neighborly. So little free libraries, that's number three. Bonus tip, and this is a funny one, but I've always loved it since I first heard it when I was young, is tight clothes. From a Buddhist point of view, my parents' Buddhist teacher, Trungpa Rinpoche, Chogyam Trungpa, you can check out his books with Shambhala Publications. But he had this tip that, wearing clothes that fit well or even are slightly too tight are uncomfortable for our egos. And I love that. He said, when we're depressed, when we're sick, when we're not feeling well, of course, we want to wear big, sweatshirts and hoodies and whatever we can kind of hide in. But the opposite of that is if we need to wake up, if we need to kind of sit up, we want something that fits. It's kind of that Italian notion of like a suit that fits. So I think that's fun. You see that in kind of pop culture, like really tight clothes, and you kind of have nowhere to hide. Doesn't matter if you're, whatever your body type is, you can celebrate it. Yeah, love that. So love that you shovel snow onto your neighbor's walks. Yeah, that's the fifth tip, the anti-mindful tip. take all of your snow, put it onto their walk, probably because you're trying to hydrate their lawn. Give them extra water. It's very generous of you. All right. Big love to everyone. That was 4 mindful tips. You had a bonus there, which is sort of like an anti-depression, wakeful clothes tip. All right. Oh, and we see that sort of in old military clothes too. They fit really well, and there's something dignified about that. All right. Big love. We do mindful tips every Friday. Go check out my new YouTube channel, Waylon Lewis, on the YouTubes. Instagram, Elephant Journal. You can follow me at Waylon Lewis, at EcoFolks, at Walk the Talk Show, at Elephant Academy. We got a lot of accounts. All right. Big love to everyone. Have a great weekend. You earned it, except for you, except for that one person.